Reawakening.
Hello again, dreamers. Chris Mann, your host here, and as you know, it's springtime. New beginnings, but sometimes new life, new energies mean letting other things end. In this episode of Reawakening, dream interpreter and science of mind practitioner Yvonne Ryba delves into an unsettling dream with an apocalyptic feel. But can a seemingly end times nightmare really be about new times and new energies just waiting to burst forth on the dreamer's path to fulfillment? Yvonne says it can. Let's check in with her and get the 411 on one of our listeners' most revelatory dreams. Hi there, Yvonne. How are you?
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm great. Can you believe it's March already?
I know, it's amazing. Terrible, really, because it just seems like Christmas was a little while ago, and
I know.
Here we are headed towards spring.
Full speed ahead. Well, as you know, I had someone that I know submit a dream that he had, so I went ahead and emailed that on to you, and I wondered if you would look into that dream. Tell us what it's about.
Yes, and I know that you know this person pretty well, so
yes.
you can have some feedback here.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is what we got. My mom and I were traveling down the freeway on a Segway. I was holding on from behind her and making sure she was safe. There were no cars on the road, only people running like a marathon. Bombs were going off in a field near the freeway shoulder. Suddenly, we came upon a group of beautiful giraffes laying together near the shoulder. We stopped and watched in terror as a missile hit the giraffes and blew them up. Blood shot up in the sky and began landing on the highway. I put my arm up to shield my mom and I from the carnage. Around this time, a bunch of runners caught up with us. To the left of me was a gal I used to work with at an LA-based National College magazine 20 years ago. She'd gone on to become a successful magazine writer at People, while my writing career was put on hold. And then I moved hours away to take care of my family, and my mom and I, in the dream, sped off on our Segway, leaving these runners far behind us. We approached an exit ramp and escaped, in quotes, the freeway. We saw a strip mall and pulled into it. The large antique store at the mall center was closed and empty, as were most of the other shops, but a small pizza restaurant was open. We went inside and had trouble ordering. Either I didn't have the proper ID or a proper credit card and was arguing with the employee manager about getting service. The entire exchange was very frustrating. Shortly thereafter, I woke up. A note at the end here, and the dreamer has said that he remembered when he was little that his mom collected figurines and things of giraffes. In fact, was very fond of them, and so he remembered that, and I think that's very interesting as well. We'll discuss that too.
Well, it sounds rather apocalyptic, that dream.
Yes, it does. But, bombs in dreams are not necessarily bad things.
Okay.
They are explosions of energy. Yes, they can be destructive. But on the other hand, they can be very revealing, like it's time for you to, get into action. It's time for something explosive to happen in your life, to change everything.
Well, I guess apocalypse is technically defined as a revelation.
Yes. Well, that's good, because that's what this is.
Okay.
It's very full of play words, words where we have two meanings.
Yes.
Symbols for things. So all sorts of things in here. So
great. Let's
go to the beginning. So I know that this person, as you told me, is very close to his mother.
Yes.
Who is not in great health. And he has to do an awful lot for her. Mm-hmm. So my mom and I were traveling down the freeway on a Segway. So the freeway is life, okay? We are all on our own road, our pathway, and he and she are on this thing together, okay? There is a bit of a play on there of Segway, because it means like moving into the next thing easily. We have a Segway where we go from here to here. Yes. And so something, obviously, this dreamer is hoping and expecting something to come out of whatever he's doing at the moment.
Yeah.
I was holding on from behind her and making sure she was safe. There were no cars on the road, only people running, like in a marathon. So there's only the one vehicle, and that was this Segway. And then people who were running like a marathon. Well, that's life.
Yeah.
And we were on this road running like heck, trying to get to wherever we want to be. It's a bit like, I'm not saying it is, but my feeling was of, like a little gerbil in a cage or something on a wheel.
Right. Or the rat race,
The rat race,
in
exactly.
LA.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got looking at this thing here, there's the roadway, there are people running. This dreamer is the only one who's got a vehicle. It's a vehicle that's powered by the energy of the rider. It's not run on gasoline or electricity or anything. It's the energy from the person themselves.
Okay.
And that's interesting. I don't think I've ever had anybody with a Segway before.
Yeah, that is.
Isn't it? So here it's up to them, whoever, on the Segway to lead it into the right direction, and off it goes. And it speeds past all these people who are running. Now then, back to the dream. Bombs were going off in a field near the freeway's shoulder. Suddenly, we came upon a group of beautiful giraffes lying together near the shoulder. Okay, so bombs is this big explosion of energy, not on the road, to the side. Okay, something happening that's not, at that point, really endangering the dreamer.
Right.
But it's pretty scary. And then there are all these beautiful animals, these giraffes, laying together near the shoulder.
Yeah.
So the giraffes, the dreamer pointed out, the only time that they could think about it, what does it mean to him, so was when his mother collected them when he was little.
Right.
So it suggests the past, okay? This is coming from a time in the past, and these beautiful giraffes are being slaughtered, okay? We stopped and watched in terror as a missile hit the giraffes and blew them up. Blood shot up in the sky and began landing on the highway. I put my arm up to shield my mom and I from the carnage.
Uh-huh.
So, they're scared. They're scared because beautiful animals are being destroyed, but also there's blood all over the place, which splattered obviously onto them. And they are being affected by all this, and they're scared, and he is very worried about his mom being hurt by this. So he is protecting her.
Right.
Now, that's an important thing, yeah.
Especially since the giraffes play into the past with the mom collecting them and that kind of thing.
That's right. So it's all about what happened in the past, and it wasn't very nice, obviously. The giraffes were killed or damaged, hurt, blood all over the place. Violent. Okay, seems like a lot of violence here.
Yes. Yeah.
And he is trying to protect his mother, or he tried to protect her in the past. I mean, it seems like that's what this is about.
Yes.
Okay, so around this time, a bunch of runners caught up with us. To the left of me was a gal I used to work with. Okay, so this gal, 20 years ago, worked for this national college magazine, but she went on to become a successful writer at People. And he is looking after his mom and family and the rest of it.
Uh-huh. And
the whole thing suggests I just look into the past and I see other people on the road doing well. But, there's only one of them that he noticed was doing well. The others were just chugging on there, doing their thing.
Right.
But it's reminiscing about what could have been, what was, and so on. Now then, he says, Mom and I sped off on our Segway, leaving the runners far behind us, which is pretty good. So, focused, this dreamer, again protecting his mom, she's got to be with him in the dream.
Yeah.
And of course, it probably is his mom, because I know you said that his mom wasn't very well.
Right, had some health struggles.
Yes, that's right. But also, mom in a dream is the feminine, nurturing, caring side of us, too.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very strong in this dreamer's life. Spend a lot of time looking after other people.
Yes.
After the family, all of them, and so on and so on. Now then, back to the dream. We approached an exit ramp and escaped the freeway. We saw a strip mall and pulled into it. The large antique store at the mall center was closed and empty, as were most of the other shops. Okay, so they get off the main highway, the freeway. He's put the word escaped in quotes.
Mm.
So it's like, get off the rat race, okay, the way everybody else is doing it. and pulls into this strip mall, which is pretty empty. And the main thing is this large antique store, which is closed and empty. Now, that's, again, a sign of a symbol of the past.
Okay.
Antiques.
Yes.
From the past, okay. But it's empty. It was there, but it's empty. In other words, it's not much good to anybody at the moment. And I think this is, again, a sign of this dreamer's subconscious saying that, this dreamer needs to let this go. It's closed. It's empty. It's no good to anybody. You can't go back in there. There's nothing in there to see, nothing to help, nothing of value.
So whatever from the past was negative, pertaining to the dreamer and his mother, that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
There was one little place open that sold pizza. And he says, we went inside and had trouble ordering. Either I didn't have proper ID or a proper credit card and was arguing with the employee manager about getting service. The entire exchange was very frustrating, and then he woke up. Okay, so there's one little place open where you can get food. Dreams often use food as a symbol for money because, we talk about dough, and getting fed and so on. I mean, it's all about how do we earn our living?
Yes.
How do we get food on the table? We have to make money. So they go into a place that's not very, it's pizza, it's great, it's okay, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not really very varied at all. That this is not like a French restaurant or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not very posh. He is going in there and having a hard time because he hasn't got somehow the ID or credit card that he needs, and he's trying to get service, and this is all frustrating. And I think that must be how the dreamer's life was or is when he had this dream.
Yes, yes.
So it's like, I'm having a hard time, so I get off, and I'm busy trying to let go of all this stuff from the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't focused on what I want to focus on because I'm looking after the family, and I'm having a hard time with it. Like the proper credit card, just all the things you need to be able to get where you want to be.
Right.
So, yeah.
What would seem to be a simple transaction is complicated.
And it becomes a problem. And so I would say, though, that this is about the subconscious of the dreamer saying, you know what, we could do very well. We could get way ahead of everybody, but we keep sidetracking. Getting off the freeway could also mean that you're getting off from the race, as it were, to go and look at the past. Look at this empty antique store. And it's a lot of nonsense. You don't need to do that.
Right.
And, this is not a place where you even get food. You can't even get food because it's a negative place. So getting back onto the freeway wouldn't be a bad thing. I know we said rat race, and there's a bit of combination of meanings here. There is a bit of a rat race, but at the same time, this dreamer has got a lot to offer, and the subconscious is saying, if only you would let go of all of this other stuff and make room for the new stuff coming in. And this is a very common thing that most of us have to deal with.
That's for sure.
It's something that we spend a lot of time with really useless stuff. That's baggage we don't need to carry around.
Yes.
Pilgrim's Progress, he carries a huge big bag, a burden on his back until he gets to the celestial kingdom when it miraculously falls off him.
That's right.
And he realizes it's all the stuff he carried around with him all his time, preventing him from getting where he wanted to be.
That's right. And sometimes that baggage, so to speak, can be old relationships, people, family.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're trying to go back and fix someone that can't be fixed or fix a relationship that can't be fixed. So it can be a weighty thing, but sometimes you just have to, like you said, let it go. Let it go.
Yes, and not just this dreamer, but all of us, because it's something that's not going to help. What's gone is gone.
What's gone is gone.
And the pain that you've got, and I've had this, and I'm fortunate that I've used, I've told you before, being a practitioner of the science of mind, I've used that to let go of stuff. It has helped me to focus on the future. That's where we are going.
Yeah.
Going to tomorrow, and tomorrow does come. Today is what I was looking forward to yesterday, and this whole week, my whole life is like that. Okay, I'm getting ready for tomorrow, and I pretty well know what I've planned to do. It doesn't always come out that way, but I'm not going backwards.
Yeah, so even if you have a dream that feels very sort of end times, and is distressing and disturbing, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're picking up on a nuclear war.
No. Well, the subconscious is trying to help. It's not saying you're doomed.
Yeah.
Unless you're having a dream that's really trying to warn you of something. Obviously, there were some violent times or something in the past when he was young.
Yes,
that caused all this, which I'm sure you know about.
Yeah.
You know, I know he talked to you
about his dad, yeah. Who was
that's right.
Very, I guess, explosive. So maybe that's a play on the bombs.
The bombs, yeah. And I don't know if he was actually physically, you know, whether he beat up the mother or whatever. With his blood. Yeah. You know, but I mean, it's like blood was shed. It doesn't have to be actual blood, but it's like, well, it was very damaging, very painful, destructive.
I know he told me that he lived in fear of something happening.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So I think he was sort of the protector, you know, of his mother, even at a young age. So that's, I think, plays into this too. But, you know, even if you have a dream that feels sort of like it's the end of life as we know it, so to speak, I guess the apocalypse, I'm always seeing on TV, people are like, oh, the apocalypse, the apocalypse. Well, technically the apocalypse means like the unveiling of knowledge, of truth, and a Segway suggests transition. So it may be the end of a certain time in one's life, but you need to get back on that freeway and find the new life, the new path, so to speak.
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting. Oh, I love that, you know, a Segway was the vehicle involved in this dream. That was not just a coincidence. It wasn't a pogo stick or a car. It was a vehicle, and you said like moved by the energy of the driver, right?
That's right, yes. You know, cars, trucks, whatever. The vehicle, usually it represents your body or yourself. Sometimes it can be the body. It can say, the brakes are not going right on this. I had many years ago, a friend had a dream in which in the car, the brakes failed going down the hill and she ended up in the ditch. And I knew her life, and I said, well, this is a warning. You're going too fast and you need to put the brakes on. And she couldn't stop herself. She was spending money like water and got herself in a heck of a mess and did end up in a kind of a ditch, you know?
Yeah.
So the vehicle can be the body. It's you, basically. Now, here's a vehicle that only operates from the energy of the driver, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
No gas, no electricity. It's the driver doing it. So It's a really good one. I do not think I've ever had anybody mention that Segway in a dream before.
So that's not just a random thing. That has some major meaning, especially with a play on words. So, so little things like that, when you have these dreams that even seem totally negative, note them. Note the things like the Segway, note the things like the antique store or the bombs going off on the side, but you weren't necessarily hit by one, but it was sort of around you. And note these things because there could be a sort of a message of hope in the middle of something that seems doom and gloom, right?
Yeah, exactly. It just says, look, we're being sidetracked here. You're getting off and sticking yourself in a place where there's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Can't even get a bit of pizza here because there's an argument going on. And get back on the road, and you've got all the energy. You've passed everybody. You've got the ability and the talent. That's what it's saying to the dreamer.
Yes.
So let's go for it. You know, get back on the road. And, you know, I've had people on bikes.
Uh-huh.
You know, people in ships, boats, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I had somebody skiing or water skiing. I've had surfing and that kind of thing. Never had a Segway. So that's news.
Yeah, and you can still carry your mom with you or protect your beloved.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that was a really interesting dream and analysis of the dream. So I don't think we've had one quite like this before, Yvonne.
No, we haven't.
Well, good. So, you know, listeners, if you have a weirdo dream, even something that seems like a full-on nightmare, why don't you email me the dream at risingactionmedia@gmail.com. I can forward it to Yvonne and see if it's something we can look into on a future show.
Good. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, Yvonne, for your insights. It's always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
And you stay nice and dry there in Texas.
Oh, yes, it shouldn't rain till the weekend and then showers. But yes, it's beautiful, 70.
Wonderful.
70-something, and it's coldish at night, but that's okay for us because we get a lot of hot weather.
Good. We don't need any more of this end times weather, do we?
No, we don't. No.
Thank you. We want new beginnings in spring. Okay, well, Yvonne, you take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Chris. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Reawakening with Chris Mann and Yvonne Ryba is a Rising Action Media production. Copyright 2017 by Chris Mann.